Let's start with our trending topics this morning. And here goes. First up, hashtag SARP, that's the South African Reserve Bank. And obviously this about the statement that the SARP released yesterday regarding their investigation into what happened at President Ramaphosa's Phala farm, where foreign currency was found stashed in furniture, and an investigation ensued. And the SARP indicates in their statement that it took them over a year to investigate what had happened, looking at various documents, piece of paper, etc. And essentially the outcome is that they found nothing wrong.
Yeah, it was interesting though, that letter of theirs as well, because I looked at some of the points as the lawyer and me going, well, the transaction was not perfected. Number two, it was very interesting. Well, I don't have much to say on that one.
It is very interesting because I think in the end, the question is very simply in terms of transgressions or violations that were committed. There is no question that the foreign currency was there.
It was undisclosed.
It was not disclosed, evidently.
Yeah.
However, remember, we still have the buyer who then contradicts what is being said about, this transaction, because he at some point had said, firstly, he brought the money in, he disclosed the currency that he brought in. I don't think we've seen the proof of that yet. And then he also said that the transaction happened and he was still awaiting delivery.
Yes, that's what was said.
Of his livestock, remember?
Yes, I remember.
So it's all up in the air at this point.
Not a single version of the events that actually took place. Everyone has their own version of what happened.
Yeah.
The buyer has his own version, the president's camp has their own version, and then SARP has their own version.
And of course, as I said, in terms of whether any violations occurred that SARP should have taken note of, the question is, according to the version of the buyer, the person who brought in the foreign exchange, how long was that money on the president's farm, and why had it not been declared within the stipulated 30 days? So are we saying that that's okay, nothing happened because the transaction was not perfected? This is not the end of the story by a long shot.
And you ask yourself what this means for the ordinary South African then, who has
undisclosed foreign currency. It means nothing for you and I, because you and I will be racked over the knuckles, no doubt. All right, moving on, hashtag Sandton. For all sorts of reasons, obviously, BRICS, the BRICS Summit, 15th BRICS Summit taking place in Sandton. So Sandton virtually locked down. But people were also talking about the fact that suddenly there were traffic cops out in full force in Sandton, and even the painting of road markings and, all sorts of things. And people were like, whoa, the efficiency is on another level here.
It's something they're not used to seeing, right? So now all of a sudden they're seeing it. And I saw as well some people on Twitter saying, oh, it's so interesting, there's so much protection and police that are visible. Meanwhile, where we are, the Zamazamas are just doing as they please. And these are the places where we actually want security and need that level of security. So
I think what was also interesting was people saying, you know how you had at some points the homeless directing traffic?
Yes.
There's
no paras doing anything now.
Nobody. The law enforcement officials are doing what they're supposed to do. We wish this could remain like this forever, but hey.
We'll see what happens after the BRICS Summit at the end of the week. The next trending topic, SK, you've got this one covered, Egypt?
Egypt. So Egypt is an interesting one. People basically talking to the developments that have been made in Egypt over the past few years. So, for example, Africa Fact Zone, so they always, and I enjoy reading, what they put out on X. So they were saying in 7 years, Egypt built 10,000 new factories. So the industrial sector's value increased from 22 billion in 2014 to $60 billion in 2021. And then they also talk about the infrastructure development in that country. And it says in 2017, Egypt was not among the top 10 African countries with the best road networks. And fast forward to 2022, they were number 2 in Africa and 28th globally.
That's
and
amazing.
there are pictures of some of the developments that they have made here in this regard. So just a lot of talk about what's been happening in Egypt. Africa's highest national debt burdens. Egypt tops that as well, but just very interesting in terms of industrialization and Egypt's growth in this regard.
All right. And then finally, we take a look at the last trending topic. We don't have it on our list, but this is from the FIFA World Cup Women's Final between Spain and England, where we saw Jennifer Hermoso, one of the Spanish players, as well as the president of the FAs of Qatar. SK, you continue. Because my views, there was nothing I saw wrong.
Okay.
Yes.
So I think I watched this live.
Yes.
So And I was particularly interested to see, because of all the talk in the lead up to the World Cup, what the body language was going to be now that the girls had won the tournament.
Yes.
And they had the Queen of Spain, she was there, and very formal. But when they got to Pablo Zabaleta,
it was just
everybody, there was
arms.
this open arms, the hugs, the kisses. But now I see Twitter, some people have a problem with the fact that he had hugged and kissed everybody in the manner in which he did. And I looked at that as it was happening. He did that not only with the girls, but everybody on that squad.
Yes, he did.
And I didn't get a sense, at least from as it was playing out, that anyone was uncomfortable or there was any sort of pushback. In fact, their own body language was very embracing of what was happening at the time. But the Twitterati don't seem to be happy about that.
No, Twitterati don't seem to be happy. And you say rightly, because we wanted to see that body language, because there was so much talk. There's a lot of uneasiness with the coach, with the FA, and that was the exact opposite that we got to see on the day.
And as I say, if the girls themselves did not have a problem with it,
then who are we? We are nobody.
Yeah, let's see. This might develop, it might not. We'll see where this goes. So that concludes our trending topics for this morning.